perception of LGBTQ in South Asian communities. That's our topic of conversation today. Difficult it may be for some, or it may cause discomfort, but that's what we have to change. We have to normalize queer love, because love at the end of the day is love. Whether it's between a man and a woman, or a man and a man, or a woman and a woman. Today, my guests are two young South Asian Canadian women who are dizzily in love with each other. One of them identifies as bisexual and the other lesbian. They're both beautiful, meant to be with each other, and doing their part every day to bring about positive change in how the world views couples like them. Let's please welcome Tina and Subiksha Subramani. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. Really appreciate it. And you look beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. You too.
I'm matching with Tina.
Yeah.
Yes.
With the black and blue. The kurta game is strong.
And I love your hair, Tina. Gorgeous.
Thank you so much. I just did it for today. Just for the interview.
All right. Before we delve into the deeper, darker, harder questions, I wanted to know, what is your ethnicity, just to provide context to our conversation today.
So I'm from Bangladesh, in a small town called Molubi Bazar. That's where I was born. And from there, 2013, with my dad and one of my sister, we moved to Montreal.
Okay. And Subi?
And I'm South Asian as well. So I was born in Madurai, and then 2 months after we moved to Qatar. So my parents and my brother were in Qatar, and then they came to India for my birth. And then we went back to Qatar, lived there for 16 years of my life, and then we moved to Canada when I was 16.
And you guys found each other. That's so incredible. Yeah. You found each other. How difficult was it to find a South Asian partner in Canada?
It was literally unexpected for sure. So we met on an app. It's called HER, and I had not met a lot of people. So I did university here as well. So there were lots of options to meet LGBTQ plus people in my university. Right, it was quite open, but no one had approached me. So it's being bi, I was like, I guess I'm only supposed to be with men. No women is asking me out. So I'm confused. Maybe it was an interesting journey. But years later, when I felt more comfortable with myself, I was on this app, and Tina had a picture on this app facing the mountain, and I didn't even know what she looked like, and I just swiped right, and then coincidentally we just kind of met. I literally just had no idea that we would meet. What are the odds, really?
Yeah, because I've been with other women before, but she's the only South Asian woman I've been with in my life. And when I first met her, I'm like, okay, I had no experience, right? I don't know what to say, but I always have that that I want to be with someone who wears saris. And in my dream I was like, okay, this is not going to happen, because I had never seen any Bangladeshi or Indian when I was growing up, right? Or being gay. And when I met her, I'm like, okay, yeah, I have to talk to her. I need to know her more, and here we are now.
I find that so beautiful that you were able to find each other here in Canada, and you're from two different countries. Yeah, you're both South Asian. Yeah, you're from two different countries, two different part of the world. You were in Qatar, and she was in Bangladesh, and here you are in Canada, and you found each other. How beautiful is that? And you're getting married as well, right?
Yes.
Next year, we're planning next year in December to get married. So we're just planning for it in India. So let's see how it goes with COVID and everything. We're hoping that we're all vaccinated by then, and then it is safe to
To
have a
travel.
wedding, and yeah, to travel and have a wedding there and with all our family and friends and everything. So we're just kind of pushing it off until then. But like honestly, we would get married like ASAP. We're just waiting for when everything is normal.
Yeah. I already mentioned in my intro that Subi, you said you were bi, and Tina, you've only been with women. So, can you speak about the time when you first discovered that about yourself? When was it? What age did you find that you were interested in women?
When I was young, like very young, being when I was in Bangladesh, like, when I used to go to school, I used to see some, girls. I'm like, okay, every time I see them, there's something happen. Like, how, when my classmate, I had a crush on her, but I'm like, I don't know how to say things, and I don't know what's happening with me. But I think that time, no one said anything about being gay. What is, no one talk about it, right?
Sexuality, yeah.
No one talk about sexuality. I'm like, okay, maybe it's something wrong with me, so I ignored it, right? So, and then when we moved here in 2013, and when I was 18, then one of my friends took me to the gay bar, and that was, first time I met a girl. And I think, I was close to her, and I felt that. I was like, okay, I never felt it before. I've been with men, but that feeling, it's like something, I'm like, I
Something
was,
clicked.
something clicked. I'm like, this is what
Mhm.
I've been waiting, I think, for so long, even though I was in a relationship, but I never felt it. But yeah, it was, I would say 2007, yeah, 16, 17. I felt it. I'm like, it was amazing.
You finally felt like yourself, that you could be true to you.
Yeah, yeah.
And how did your family react? And did you? How long did it take for you to tell them? And how did you tell them?
I think because I was hanging out with lots of women, and then I was, going out, and these have seen some.
Tina's a low-key, not low-key, high-key player. Like
Mm,
you may or may not know through this interview.
no, no, I don't think so. So I think I was hiding, right? So I wasn't telling them, but somehow they figured it out. There's definitely, she's doing it something, but I never get to say that because I, deep inside, I know this is, my parents won't like it. It's a no for my parents. So I just, told them, and they're like, okay, I think it's time for you to get married. Think if you get married, you'll be better. So I thought, okay, maybe being, something actually wrong with me. So I started like doubting on myself, like, okay, I need to do what my parents say, because of course they care about me. I need to do the right thing for them, and maybe for myself too.
That must be hard.
It was hard, yeah. I wasn't sure what to feel, right? So I'm like, okay, maybe getting married, it's the only solution. Being with a man is the solution. So I did what they want me to do. Then got married in 2018. Yeah, 2018 in December.
I can still see that emotion well up in your eyes. I can still see that you. That must have been really, really hard time. I can't imagine. Like maybe you felt really alone at the time. Do you? How would you put those emotions to word? What did you go through? Oh
Sorry.
yeah, please take your time. Please take your time. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. I don't know. I I think I thought being gay, it's a crime, and everyone said, get married, things will be better. You'll be better.
You'll be fixed.
I'll be fixed. I think, okay, I said, okay, well, I don't know, right? I never had a friend that time who's gay, or I, I have three sisters, but none of them ever taught me or said anything, right? They're like, no, no, you're a girl, you should be with men. Done.
And your sisters, are they younger than you or are they older than you?
I'm the youngest. So
Oh, wow.
the oldest sister, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
yeah,
you will be now. There she is, holding you,
I
supporting
know.
you. I'm so happy for you guys now. So you got married, and how was that experience? Did you? So how did you? What happened when you were married?
So in my head, when my parents said, get married, everything will be okay. So I'm like, okay, it should work. So I'm like, okay. So if they want me to get married, and so let me find a person for myself, because I don't want them to find someone from Bangladesh, you know. So I went to again that online app and found someone from here in Canada, and he was from Calgary. He was studying in Lethbridge University. So we talked, and then I never told him obviously anything about me liking girls or anything. So we I liked him as a person. He's a really good person. There's nothing wrong. But I thought, okay, if I want to get married, I told my parents, if I want to get married, I should marry to him. And we got married in 2018, and then he was here in Calgary, so we moved here, and it was different. It was definitely like, I'm married, but I don't feel anything. So what am I supposed to feel? I don't know. So I was with him, and he figured it out that I was in a relationship before with the girl. But I wish what he said, that don't worry, I will help you. So I said, okay, maybe it's gonna be fixed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I really wish he helped me that time, that I will help you to get out from this relation to be what you want to be.
Oh, so he supported you
No.
to get divorced from the relation, or
Oh, so he said he will help her change, like, and become normal. Yeah. So, but she was saying, like, I wish he helped me. Once he knew, like, he knew right after they got married that she was in a relationship with a woman, and obviously, like, after the marriage, it's kind of complicated, right? So, like, what do you tell her? What do you tell him? So, and not to make a joke of it or anything. Sorry for laughing, but it's a complicated situation, and he wishes that, like, he just stepped up and he said, I understand what you're going through. I'm so sorry that you weren't in the predicament to say something, but let me help you live your life as you are, because I love you, or I appreciate our friendship.
yeah, you were looking for someone to support you, some anchor, that support that you didn't get from your sisters, or the support that you didn't get from your parents, that you were wanting or you were expecting from the family, right? So you put those expectations on your husband, or now ex-husband, and that support didn't come from there either.
Yeah.
So how did you come out of that relationship?
So it's like we were there for 4 years, and it's just, I was never happy, but I pretended, always being happy. I did what everybody wanted me to do, like wearing sari, had a long hair, and everything. So 4 years later, and I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. So I need to get out. So finally, I have decided. I didn't tell him. I just moved out. I said, I need some time. I need something. So I moved out, lived on my own, and, had met a lot of friends who are gay. So that's when I got the support from them, And
good for you. Good for you. No, I'm very proud of you. Good for you.
Very strong, for sure.
so I was doing everything, and then obviously my family, here they come again. They're like, nope, whatever you're doing absolutely wrong. If you want to be part of our family, then you have to go back to your husband, do what you're supposed to do. I'm like, okay, so either I have my life or my family. So I have to choose again.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back again. So I tried. I'm like, okay, this time we're gonna try with the kids. I'm like mentally, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be pregnant and maybe I will change. And we tried, and luckily I never got pregnant. So I wasn't getting pregnant, and we went to the doctor. We were gonna get a test tube baby and everything. And then when we were going through that, like process, that's when I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Do I really? I want the kids, but this is not what I want. And that was the last step. I said, I need to get out. And then I moved out, and then I said, I need to get a divorce from you. I can't do this anymore.
I think what intrigues me is that this man, he knew that you were not happy in that relationship, and yet he wanted to change. It's incomprehensible for me to understand. But Subi, your story is slightly different from that. How did you come out to your parents, and when did you come out to your parents?
So I was dating my like my university best friend Colin, and like we were like best friends and everything, and we would talk about everything. And then at that time, like I always had a feeling that like I was bi, I had interest in men, women, non-binary people, like everyone, and like people are just beautiful. So and then I just told him, and then he's like, yeah, no, dude, that makes sense. That's completely okay, of course. And he's like, why don't you just go tell mom and dad? And so I just went up the next day, and he's like, just do it. Like I think it's just eating you up. So just go and tell mom and dad. So I told them, and like my parents are awesome. My family's awesome. Like they are progressive, but each family has their own kind of limits, and even they like support me in everything, but I think they couldn't comprehend certain things. They're a different generation and all. So definitely the first reaction was, yeah, this is just a phase. You're like, okay, okay, chalo, chalo, like, khatam ho jayega ye. And like another big thing was, first one, it's a phase. Second one, two women or two men, two people of the same sex cannot be stay together as a couple or be married or get pregnant. It's against nature, essentially. So, and it wasn't like incredibly dramatic or anything like that. I think they just thought, oh, it's a phase. She's young. She'll grow out of it. And then since then, I had been incredibly like, I mean, always supportive of the LGBTQ plus community, but from then even more, like every time we talked about wedding, marriage, love, whatever, I would always say he or she, like whoever I get married to, he or she, then that person has to be like this, like supportive, kind, whatever, whatever, all of that, like the checklist of items. And then so Amma and Appa was still like, okay, chalo, let her continue her pride flag, pride support. And they still thought I would just grow out of it. And of course, that family acceptance, like how Tina was saying, like it is so important. Like whether it be LGBTQ plus relationship or a love marriage, like you always want your parents to love you, support you, right? So there is always that need, and so yeah, so they didn't believe me until I think I was dating a girl right before Tina, like dating, like just like slowly getting into the waters. And my mom was like, oh, okay, this she's for real, she wants to date women, or she is bi. And then still kind of, we had fights, and then dated Tina for 6 months, and then I'm like, okay, this is a girl I definitely want to introduce. She's serious, like, we and then there was, cut to 3 years later, had lots of fights, full on family drama, everything. And I'm just laughing about it now, but but in the moment it was definitely very stressful because I was doing my CPA, I had alopecia, like a lot of stuff was going on at that time, and it was really tough. But then I'm happy that my parents did understand. Like we had a really big fallout for like a few weeks, and then my parents understood. Okay, Subi is really standing up for what for this relationship. So okay, there is something to this. She's willing to leave our family to be with Tina. So then, then there is something there. So let's pursue this. Let's support them. So I will say right now we're at a stage where Amma and Appa want us to get pregnant, married, pregnant, like move in with them, like have a big family, everything. So it's really awesome, and I appreciate my family, my brother and sister-in-law, everyone. Like they're incredibly supportive of both
Oh,
of us.
that is so, so, so encouraging to hear. Okay, I know you talked about, well, Tina talked about your journey from where basically your parents were not supportive and to the point where you are now self-empowered. You are now comfortable with who you are and you are able to accept who you are. How was that journey for both of you?
Yeah, so I mean, if we're talking about bisexuality in general, it was that moment when when I went upstairs after talking to my boyfriend at the time and told them, I'm like, hey, this is who I am, and sorry, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm an awesome person, I'm smart, I'm educated, I'm good looking, I'm everything, so I'm gonna live my best life. Like you just gotta live, you just gotta accept me as I am. So since then, so that's one, and then secondly, like for our relationship, once I was like, no, this is it, like because there's a lot of like questioning, right? Like when the person who you love the most and like you get validation from the most doesn't believe you, you're always questioning yourself. So I was really proud of myself when I stood up, like to my parents and my grandma. At that time, we had like an intense discussion. Like it was more than an intense discussion; it was a big fight. But at that time, when I mean, it was needed. It was needed. So when we had that, I was proud. I was like, I had never spoken to them like that, never stood up for myself like that, and that's when the change happened. They realized like, this is meant to be, she's really standing up. So my mom and dad had a similar story. My mom did a full hunger strike for her love marriage, so it just runs in the family. So I think they were just like, chalo, isne bhi shuru kar liya uska strike. So this is something she need to hear her. But it feels empowering. Getting back to self empowerment, I feel so amazing. Like things that have happened in my life, and I'm very lucky to not to have parents who do support me in everything, and just people in general, because I don't hide myself anywhere, like at work or anything. I'm able to be exactly who I am, and I'm able to be as awesome as I am, because I am able to be open to everyone and just be who I am. Sorry if I rambled on.
No, no, thank you for sharing all of that. I think it is so important for, like we discussed earlier before we started talking, is there may be someone listening in today and who needs to hear that, how important it is.
Awesome, whoever
Yeah,
you are watching.
Yay.
you are awesome as you are, and you should rightfully own that. And if families were not supportive of their children when they're coming and telling you that this is their orientation, I think it's about time we change that. So, talking about families, I'm so glad that you had your family support, Subi. But there may be somebody in the South Asian community that you may have heard things from that might be hurtful. Can you talk about one example where someone said something that was hurtful or to negate your identity or put you down for who you are? And of course, talk a little bit about the stereotypes that you've heard within the South Asian communities.
You can go ahead.
So yeah, that's a really great question. So definitely, like if someone were to say something, I'll shoot them down in literally a second. So usually people don't say things to me because they know what the response is going to be like. And but yes, there have been a few times. So for example, one of them are my parents. They haven't said anything super rude or nothing like that. It's just this mentality with South Asian people that like two women cannot exist together in a relationship. Like, and then so secondly, someone had asked Tina, and I was super mad to hear this. They asked, "Oh, who's the man in the relationship?" So what that equates to is again like men and women are not the same. So I mean, I understand it's coming out of curiosity and this and not knowing about same-sex relationships, but essentially it just comes down to power, right? Like normally in South Asian communities, men are put on a pedestal and women are not. They are women are lower than men. So what angers me with that question about who's the man in the relationship is first they want to know what's your sexual preference, who's dominant, who's submissive. It's like I don't come to you and ask you about your sexual history. Like I didn't know we were that close. And then secondly, it's like okay, who does the cooking, who does the house cleaning, who does bahar jaake kaam karna and getting more money. It's like they we need to put gender roles in everything, and it's so sad to see that in heteronormative relationships that there are so many gender roles and we're sometimes by like curbed by that, and being with a woman and like she's good at taking care of her finances. I work a corporate job, I cook, she cleans the house. Like it's like so equal. Then the moment we just take out those gender roles, things open up. Like we don't think about that, oh ladies ye karte hain and men ye karte hain. So those stereotypes make me go crazy. but yeah, another one is that women cannot be alone. Like वो काम करके उतना पैसा नहीं आएगा उनके पास. So I understand where that's coming from generationally. However, like we are educated women, we are educated, we are told to be independent and stand on our own feet. But at the same time, we're also said all the time in very small ways, different parts of our lives, however progressive the family is, oh, ek ladka will make more money. Like the ladki will become pregnant, to ghar pe raho, and not always in a rude way, but it does end up being like that. And I think that was a concern from a lot of people, is that we're both women. How will we make enough money to survive? Kind of thing. It's like, hey man, I'm a CPA. Like I'll make the same amount as any other CPA would make. Like so, it's kind of like that. And then she works too. So those are some stereotypes I faced.
Oh, interesting. Never thought that would ever be a concern about who's going to make more money. Well, two women, they can also make as much money as any man can. I think when we talked last week, you had said that you were practicing Hindu, Subi. And it was important for you to find someone who could understand that part of you, and someone who could understand Hindi, someone who could understand your language, someone who could speak that language. Why was that so important for you?
So that's a really good question. I'm open to was open to meeting anyone. Like it may be their race could be different, their religion or anything. If I'm in love with them and they support me and I'm kind to them, everything, then that's perfect. But I was, because I'm study Bharatnatyam and Hinduism and my culture, my tradition, everything is so intertwined in my life, and I love it so much. I was like, it would be so amazing if she was Hindu. But again, no big deal. So there were definitely times where I was like, oh, God, please, like really hot girl, super tomboy, just like really good style, really smart and kind. That would be great. Please, bhej do koi. And I feel weird saying that, but I definitely prayed. And it feels amazing because, like, right in front of us is a little puja area. We do puja every morning. Try to follow traditions and whatever festival is there, and we don't forget about. We try to do a puja or whatever the customs are and everything. Because I feel like so I didn't spend as much time when I was younger learning about Hinduism and my religion. And if I have to teach this to our kids, and we want to teach it, then if we don't know, we're not going to be able to teach anything to our kids. So I just want to make sure that my kids get every opportunity to learn anything that they want, and they can accept or kind of decline it if they want it. But I will make sure my duty is to teach them.
Oh, I'm so glad that you found the love that you were looking for. Tina, does your family know about Subi?
Yes, they know about everything because I used to hide everything on social media. I'm like, okay, this is obviously it's a crime for my family. My family said this is it can't be. You can't be gay. This is it's a no. So if you want to do anything, do it, but don't show it to people. You don't need to do anything on social media. You don't post anything. Don't do anything. So I followed what they said for a while. Then I was like, why do I have to do this? So you're telling me to hide. And I was open. I called everyone, every single person. I told them, all my sister. I messaged them. If they didn't like, it was a big message about A to Z. This is what happened. This is to see, what happened. But obviously, they're like, you know what? What you just said, just forget it.
It's not
So
happening. Yeah.
think that it's not happening. So if you want to be with a woman, okay, go for it. Nothing, we don't support you, but you can obviously do whatever you want to do because you're far away from us.
Yeah.
Just don't tell anyone
And don't get married.
and
Yeah.
don't get married. I'm like, okay. I till now I don't know what does it mean by don't get married and don't tell anyone.
But be
Yeah.
who you are.
And but if you want to be with a woman, go for it. I don't know what does it mean.
It's basically out of sight, out of mind, right? It's you do what you want to do, but as long as it doesn't come back on us.
Yeah.
So that no one sees you and tells us that your daughter is doing so and so. As long as you're out of sight, out of mind, we don't want to know. We don't need to know. So that's just, that's a strategy employed to just close, shut their eyes. And I understand it must be really hard for them too, because it's something very different, something very that's not normal, like we talked earlier. And I imagine my parents in those shoes. I imagine like me having to tell my parents that I'm not straight. I can't imagine what that conversation would be like. I really cannot imagine. So it's incredibly brave what you did. That's I don't have enough words to describe how I truly admire you for the journey that you took, both of you, to be able to be true to yourself. And there will be so many people who are unable to do what you did, but you did it. And here you are, loud, and here you are telling your truth in loudly and proudly, I would say. And I'm so incredibly inspired by both of you. And I wish you all the very best in your future. All right,
Thank
so I'm going to ask you. I think Subiksha, you were on the board for Calgary Pride in 2020, and you were also made a statement in the City Hall against gender conversion therapies. What empowers you to vocally take a stand as you do? True that you own yourself, own your identity, which is fantastic. But what makes you go out of that comfort zone of your family and your friends and put yourself out there and take a stand vocally and publicly like that?
Yeah, I'm incredibly vocal about everything I believe in. So, it could be someone saying something to my friend, or someone saying something about someone's race, someone's sexual orientation, or anything. If I believe it's wrong, I will stand up and defend that person or myself. And in this case, with the conversion therapy, I had sent in an email because it was a 2 day long, hours long. It was like 8 hours of the city councillors just listening to both people against and for conversion therapy, and it was so draining. And I was like, you know what, I'm really busy. It was tax season, so I was like, I can't talk. So I will just send several emails supporting the bringing down the conversion therapy and criminalizing it. Sorry. So and then I heard someone speak about, brought up Hinduism, and it was someone of a different race and of a different religion that knew nothing about Hinduism and brought up Hinduism and said, "Oh, Hinduism doesn't support the LGBTQ plus community." I was like, "Bhai, tu hai kaun? Tu hai kaun?" And I was so mad. I was like, "Ye bol kya raha hai?" Like, he doesn't have a PhD in Hinduism, knows nothing about it. So like I'm like I am definitely sending in my thing. I'm standing in queue and I'm speaking. And you know what? It was well worth it. I'm glad I filmed it and I'm glad I posted it because even if one person saw it and they were touched by it or felt something by it and their mind changed even thoda sa, I've done my job. Like ho gaya. Even if it's one person, that person will now support and be an ally to our community and be a great influence. So I was like, a lot of people always say, "Oh, Subi, you're so naive sometimes and too passionate." Uh, and then they say, "I don't think you can change the world," and I don't think I can change the world. But if I change one person, or we can with the abilities that we have, the where we are currently in our lives, the advantages that we have had, and if we can provide some sort of change, or then we're helping out the world, or we're helping the next generation not face the same issues that we faced.
Yeah, I always say that um, with whatever that I do, whether it's Kisan or my actions in my daily life, as I always say, that is, if I'm able to change that one life, and like you said, the challenges that we face should not be repeated by the next generation. Like they should not have to face the same challenges. They'll face their own challenges, but they should not be going through what we went through. So
Yeah.
if we do that, we've made a difference. We've changed the world. So to me, that is changing the world. Also, what would your message be to perhaps young people right now who are struggling in the South Asian communities, who are struggling to maybe talk to their parents about their identity? Or what would your message to be the parents, the families whose children are talking to them or who are coming out to them and they don't know how to react?
For me, I think I'll just tell them, just listen to your kids, love them who they are. End of the day, that's your kid. Just don't tell them, don't make decision for them. Be part of their life, understand what they're going through, and talk more. If you don't know anything about kid, if you don't know what your kid going through, learn. There's a
Read
tons of
up.
read. There's go on YouTube or Google it. But end of the day, that's your kid. Don't leave them. Don't just say that don't take the decision for them. I would say.
Love them as they are.
So you can be an ally to the cause, and you can be someone who is part of the LGBTQ plus community or a parent, but bring up those conversations. Like, don't shy away from them. You can just say, "Oh, that transgender politician in India is doing this," or whatever you want to talk about. Bring up the topic. Like, I think a lot of people in the Indian South Asian community are allies and want to support the cause and want to support people in the LGBTQ plus community, but they feel awkward because it's such an awkward topic. Like so many topics in the in our community are so awkward. It does not need to be. We live in Canada. There isn't specific stigma to talk about them. The more we open up, the more society will open up. And for the younger kids who are growing up, just remember there's always a support system. We are always there. If you have any questions, if you just want to talk to anyone, just message us, whatever. uh, we are two people as examples where there are people like us everywhere around you. Do not feel like you're alone, and don't feel like you have to do this alone. You have no choice. Like as Tina said, she felt alone, but then she found so many gay friends that she met afterwards, of people who were similar to her, and she was able to be who she is. And then she took that step. Take that step if you're able to, and you're not. Take that step if you're able to, and you will inspire the next generation, the next generation kids that are there.
All right, well, thank you so much. Really appreciate you taking your time out and talking to us today. Oh, look at you guys. You look so pretty. Yeah, no, it was really lovely. Thank you so much for taking the time, and thank you for being so real. And I'm sure I'll bring you back again to talk about a different topic. There will be conversation.
Roop, thank you so much for bringing up the topic as well. Like, just like how we were talking earlier, that certain topics are not transparent, even though we're like very boring. We're like always like we don't always fight, but like we are boring, same couple as any other couple. So like to bring up these topics, and not just us, for anyone to see that okay, hum to normal hain, like these, they are just like anyone else. So thank you so much to Ali and you for bringing us in and bringing up this topic. It's extremely important, and you were such an awesome host and interviewer. Thank you so much.
Thank
Have a good night.
You too. Bye.